Right, we are live. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I know I said 9:30. Let me see. No, I said 9:30, y'all. I'm the first time going live through StreamYard, so let me make sure everything. Make sure mic check. Make sure mic check. Oh yeah, we good. We
Make
live.
sure.
All right, let's get, as y'all can see on the title, based on the title, welcome to the All Things Life and Sports Show with Kylan Thomas. That's me. I'm your host, Kylan Thomas. I know y'all see on here the StreamYard. I done had to figure the StreamYard out. Sorry about the technical difficulties. But no, like, I had it on Safari. You gotta use, so you can't use Safari for StreamYard. So I had to go pull all my little sound on tapes that I'm gonna put in here. I had to go pull and post all that on Chrome. So, but we here now. We live again, as y'all can see, based on the title. We are getting into here. Let me go over here. We are getting into the Browns off season. The Browns off season. Not just like any move or transaction that I saw. We're gonna kind of get into it, and then I'm going to give my overall offseason grade for the Cleveland Browns. It might shock you because we're just going to get into it. But first and foremost, let's see. First and foremost, Browns fire OC Ken Dorsey. See, I'm figuring it out still. Y'all got to put it like this. I tried to go ahead and put all the banners at once so I could just put them on. First and foremost, Browns fire offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. Now, the Browns offense was terrible. There was no creativity, no semblance of a run game. Their leading rusher for the whole season, Jerome Ford, had 565 yards. So that just go to tell you right there, they had no run game, and they didn't even try to tap into the run game. They were, let me see, 28th in total offense, 22nd in passing, 29th in rushing offense. Like, the offense within itself was just not good. But I feel like this is one of those scapegoat moves because Kevin Stefanski, the head coach of the Browns, was calling plays at the beginning of the season. He relinquished play calling duties to Ken Dorsey towards like later like around November. That's when he gave play calling duties over to OC Ken Dorsey. This is one of those, you got to fire somebody or else you're gone. I said that at the end of last year when I came on here and did my head coaches that's on the hot seat. I said Kevin Stefanski is on the hot seat. Nobody really was talking about it. It's like he skates by every year. This is the year. But they fired their OC. And now I'm gonna play y'all GM Andrew Berry on Dorsey's job status. This is before he was fired. And then for those of y'all on TikTok, come over to my YouTube. Link is in the bio. Over, if y'all want to see, over here is where I'm playing like the sound on tapes and stuff like that. I gotta make sure. I ain't gonna lie, I forgot I was live on TikTok for a second. I ain't gonna lie, I forgot I was live on TikTok. All right, let me make sure that's working.
He's obviously come in at times some less than ideal circumstances was what we've navigated early in the year. We continue to have a lot of confidence in him, highly of Ken. He's early in the year.
Continue. This trial and error. I had to make sure I'm good when I share my screen. So now here y'all go. Here's Andrew Berry talking about OC Ken Dorsey's job status. As y'all can see the date up there.
He's obviously come in at times some less than ideal circumstances was what we've navigated early in the year. We continue to have a lot of confidence in him. I know Kevin does as well. And, we're going to continue to move forward and make the adjustments we need to improve the play on offense.
Does that mean his job is safe?
Jeff, I wouldn't go into anything for like anyone in this type of setting, but we're very happy with Ken.
And so, as y'all heard, after he spoke, the reporter asked him, so does this mean Ken's job is safe? I don't want to get into it. But again, there's the GM acknowledging you lost your starting quarterback in Deshaun Watson. You lost Nick Chubb. You ain't got no running back room after that. Injuries along the offensive line. And then we're going to get into that a little bit too, because the Browns also fired their offensive line coach, Alex Dickerson. So we can acknowledge that Ken Dorsey was dealt a bad hand. Stefanski was dealt a bad hand. But when you have games where Jameson and they're throwing 50 times, 40 times, multiple times, if you look at your running back, Jerome Ford, he played in 14 games. Again, like I stated, led your running back room with 565 yards for the season. You ain't doing shit offensively if your leading rusher for the season has 565 yards and you're throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game with one wide receiver. And Njoku was hurt. So I don't understand the logic from either of them on throwing the ball that many times and not tapping into your run game, because Jerome Ford had his moments last season. He only had the 565 this year, but he rushed the ball 100 less times this season than he did in 2023. So, and then if you look at what I got here on my stats, outside of the Denver, Baltimore, and Pitt wins, those were the only times this offense put up at least 20 points. The only times this offense put up at least 20 points. Now, I get it from management, head coaching. They ain't got time. If your offense is that bad, that putrid, we ain't got time to try to figure out if you can get it together. Usually when you're bringing in new QB, new quarterbacks, sometimes you're going to have a new head coach, but keep Stefanski here. He's on the hot seat, but we got the OC, Ken Dorsey. He got to go. And then on to Jerome Ford. They did end up restructuring his contract. He accepted the pay cut. Again, like I said, but the first, literally, he had one game. The most carries he got this season was in the one game. The first game of the season against the Cowboys was the most times Jerome Ford has carried the ball throughout the whole season. Played in 14 games. Ask me how many times he carried the ball in that game. 12. So for the first game of the season was the most times a running back has carried the ball at 12 times. Y'all weren't even trying to tap into the run game. You can't say it ain't working when I go look, he got 4 carries here. The other running back got 2, and that's not going to work. And that is on play calling. I'm one of these people who can't blame everything on coaching. Players got to take some type of accountability. But that right there is on play calling. But then, again, like I stated, Stefanski did end up giving play calling over to OC Ken Dorsey during the season. And then we're going to play that clip. And I can go pull it real quick. Danny dealing with a quarterback, Jameis. You got to deliver him from pick sixes. Here, let me see though. I just got to pull. I just accidentally exited it out. And then again, for those TikTok, if y'all want to hear or see, y'all can hear it. But if y'all want to see any of these sound on tapes, these videos I put in here, y'all come over to my YouTube. Link is in the bio. All right, I got it. Here is head coach Kevin Stefanski on giving up play calling duties to OC Ken Dorsey.
Playing good football and putting game plans together. It's never one person's job. It's really a collaborative effort. So I have a ton of faith in all of our coaches. And Ken calling the plays doesn't change that collaborative approach.
What led you to do that?
Change now?
Just go ahead, Daryl.
What motivated you to make that change now?
Yeah, I kind of every single week I'm looking at things that we can do better, and we need to improve. Felt like this is the right move for right now.
It looked like you guys were going back to doing some things you knew you could do well. So do you feel like you will see some more spread RBO concepts?
I think it's a good question. I think throughout the course of the season, you're always kind of evolving and leaning into what's working and getting away from what you're not having success with. So that's an ongoing thing for us as coaches, and finding out the right concepts that fit our players, and obviously the quarterback's big for us.
So that was head coach Kevin Stefanski on giving up play calling to OC Ken Dorsey. Then here goes OC Ken Dorsey's response to taking over play calling duties. Make sure that screen still shared.
At the end of the day, we're really going to still just look at, all right, how are we going to best attack a defense based off of our personnel and try to utilize our personnel in the best way. And that's just the focus on a week-to-week basis. And so I think that's the way I approach it. I think that's the way Kev approaches it. And I think that's the best way. Is there's not a magic, a magic coach or a magic pill, to play better on offense. It's going to be work, it's going to be attention to detail. It's going to be us at the end of the day locking in and fighting and going out and playing with, extreme physicality, playing with speed, playing with confidence, So in terms of that perspective, I think I'm taking that same approach as a coach as every player should be. We want
So that's OC Ken Dorsey on taking over the play calling duties. Now, Browns then fired O-line coach Andy, I said Alice earlier, Andy Dickerson. Browns then fired O-line coach Andy Dickerson. Now, a little bit back on OC Kendall. I do scapegoated a little bit. I mean, he had to try out. I mean, Deshaun is a selling himself. He got hurt. I mean, he had Jameis out there talking about he got to deliver himself from pick sixes. He had to try DTR, Dorian Thompson, Robertson out there. So he ain't had too much to work with. That running back room was horrible, but you can't throw the ball 50, 40-something times on both sides. So, I mean, Kevin Stefanski, coach, had to make a move, had to get rid of somebody, and it wasn't going to be him. So that was the move to let go of OC Ken Dorsey. But then again, as I mentioned, they also had the inconsistencies along the O-line. They fired their O-line coach, Andy Dickerson. They were 21st in pressure rate with 36%. They were 30th ranked in sack rate with 9.1%. I mean, that's a lot. But again, you got a young quarterback back there. These mobile quarterbacks, a lot of those sacks do not be on the offensive line. They went and drafted a guy who a big knock on him was the sacks he takes, and is not on the offensive line. It's Shador Sanders, but we'll get into that when we get to their draft class. But again, those inconsistencies along the O-line, injuries, had to block for like 3 or 4 different quarterbacks throughout the season. So then they go out and sign guard Tevin Jenkins, formerly of the Bears. He mostly plays at left guard. He provides depth behind Joel Bitonio, who contemplated retirement. He even said at the kind of end of the season, the press conferences, interviews, he even said he wants to win in 2025. I come back, I want to win. So it's one of those, provide depth behind him. He's dealt with injuries. You probably don't see it too much. A guy retired during the season, but I'm not at this season going horribly. How we know he ain't gonna look, man? I ain't gonna keep coming to these meetings. I ain't funny. So they go and get guard Tevin Jenkins to provide some depth and some clarity behind that position, especially when he's come out and said that he's contemplated retirement and he wants to win 2025. Again, the man going into his 12th season. Now, so they signed Tevin Jenkins, and then they also go out and sign tackle Cornelius Lucas from the Commanders. Again, another veteran coming on from a good team. Sometimes these bad teams like to try to get players coming from good teams to bring that experience, bring that playoff experience. What did you guys do to get y'all to this position? Teach these guys, to help us develop these, teach these guys how to be a winning culture. The Jags, we tried to do that this past season. That ain't paying out. But they go and get tackle Cornelius Lucas from the Commanders. He started 7 games this past season, plays both right and left tackle. And if you look, according to PFF, if you look at the amount of snaps he played at each side, it's not too far off. He can play both. And also, according to PFF, he's a little above average. If you look at the numbers, a good pass blocking tackle, which you're going to need, especially if you got Joe Flacco out there. He want to throw the ball around the yard, and he can throw the ball around the yard. You need a good pass blocking tackle. If you currently look at the Browns depth chart, they do have him backing up Jack Conklin at right. But then if you go look, DeJuan Jones, he's still rehabbing. So that could be another clarification piece. We got a guy that can come in and play left while DeJuan back up. And another guy you can move on each side, injuries. So again, they're trying to shore up, like our Jazz GM say, they're trying to shore up the floor of the team because there was no depth, nothing. So you bring in some quality depth, some quality pieces, somebody that you can plug and play if injuries were to occur, or just somebody just not playing well. So this is somebody that you can come and these are pieces and moves they're making to be able to plug in and help that O-line become better. Now, so again, like I stated, fired O-line coach Andy Dickerson, but they did make moves to still better that O-line. Now, on to that QB room. Again, like I stated, they brought in Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, or traded for Kenny Pickett, rather. Flacco's on a 1-year deal. We all know Flacco towards the end of his career, man. This might be it. After this season, this might be it. I still think he got something in him, man. Look at the coach. Flacco gonna put up points, man. He gonna throw the ball around the yard. I think he's a great veteran to bring in for a young quarterback to learn from, especially the young quarterbacks that they did bring in Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel. Help teach Shedeur and them how to call out pass protection. That's also going to help the O-line. When you got DTR and a mobile QB, a lot of the times, which you hear a lot of people that follow football, a lot of quarterback coaches, Tom Brady has stated, they don't teach these guys quarterbacking anymore. Calling out the protections, identifying the mic. They don't teach them that no more. Flacco is that guy. He's that old guard. He's going to stand in the pocket and make the throws. That's going to help your O-line. But the issue I feel with that is Flacco going to start the whole season? Let me go. Is Joe Flacco going to start the whole season? You know what? Don't worry. Don't need no more. Again, for those of y'all over here on TikTok, come over to the YouTube. But is Flacco going to start the whole season? And that's a question that we can kind of get into later when we get into the draft class. But I think that was a good, decent, okay pickup, bringing in Joe Flacco, along with Kenny Pickett, who's also been in the league a couple years. We saw he had a decent game when he had to come in for Jalen Hurts. I want to say that was the Commanders game. It was put up a lot of points. Like he looked decent. Now, is this somebody that you want to give your keys to the franchise to? No. But I think while the Browns try to figure out this quarterback position, bringing in Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, I think those are okay, decent moves. Next, then we get into the Browns. This guy. The Browns. Let me share my screen. They then extended linebacker Devin Bush. He signed a 1-year deal to come play for them last season, for this past season, and they decided to extend him. Had a pretty good year. They decided to extend him. Had a pretty good season. He was I kind of wonder, like, whatever happened to Devin Bush. I mean, he was. Look at this. Look at this. This is who the Browns is. That I'm sorry, I love it. I don't have no problem with shit like this. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I mean, probably a slight problem, but anyway, this is who the Browns decided to extend. He was a 10th pick of the first round in the 2019 draft. I mean, like I stated, he had a good season this past season. If you look at PFF, he more of a weak side linebacker, great in run coverage, had a great run defense grade of 86.4. That's about sometimes some places have that 8th in the league. So another place PFF have that 12th amongst linebackers. It's still a top 15 performance amongst linebackers for run coverage. 77.5 pass rush grade, not very good in coverage, pass coverage, but he had a grade of 57.9, and that's very average or towards the bottom of linebackers. But that's why you go out and draft Carson Schwarzenegger. You got Jordan Hicks. That's why you sign linebacker Jerome Baker. They're all gonna come amongst each other and help each other out. But I gotta show that clip again. I gotta show this clip again of Devin Bush, man. I was just whatever. I remember when they drafted Devin Bush because I see the draft calls, like when they say the family leaves a letter to that was very emotional. So I was, oh, this is a player that I'm gonna watch. And he's bounced around. Like he doesn't seem to have a career trajectory that we thought he would have. He did have an ACL tear, but again, like I stated, after signing with the Browns this past season, they decided to extend him after a good year. So he could be on the up and up. The Browns could have something with linebacker Devin Bush. They also signed wide receiver Deontay Johnson. He's bounced around. We all know what comes with Deontay. He was cut by the Ravens after refusing to go into the game against the Eagles. We know the shit that will happen with the Steelers and that whatever happened over there at that organization. And I'm gonna show y'all this clip because I mean this was Deontay Johnson. This was Deontay Johnson. I mean, here he is, just guy fumbles. Here he is, just look, just watching the fumble, just watching it. I mean, this was Deontay Johnson. So can we truly really get hype about this pickup? The thing with Deontay Johnson is he is a good wide receiver. If he come in and lock in, you will have a tandem with Jerry Jeudy, Hillman, Deontay Johnson, with Flacco throwing in the ball all over the yard. But how is his personality going to go if one of these young quarterbacks got to come in and step in? Again, we got to remember Flacco is old, injury, any of that could happen. So one of these young quarterbacks got to come in and step in. How is he going to emotionally, mentally, how is this going to work out? Because that's kind of what happened with the Steelers. Man had Kenny Pickett out there throwing to him. And, that's funny, a reunion with. And the problem is He's open, not getting the ball, overthrowing him. So that's where the emotion, that's where the acting out came from with Deontay Johnson. So I feel like Flacco will be able to get him the ball, but if Flacco gets hurt and one of these young quarterbacks or Kenny Pickett come back in and Kenny Pickett ain't no better, Dylan Gabriel and Shador ain't no better, can't get him the ball, is he going to crash out again? And was that signing off or not? Now, the Browns did draft tight end Harold Fannin Jr. Let me see. That's another pass catching or another like receiver type for you. But yeah, I can't get too hyped about Deontay Johnson signing because I feel like if he locks in again, he'll be able to go against the Steelers. This is the division rival. He'll be able to play them twice a year. So, and he's only signed to a 1-year proven deal. He done ran out of chances. So, I mean, he ain't got no choice but to get it together. Deontay Johnson ain't got no choice but to get it together. But I feel like, man, he just gotta lock in. He lock in and he'll be fine. And to round out one of the more talked about, interesting, shocking, not even shocking. When it came out and you think about it, it wasn't even shocking. But to round out one of the most pivotal moves the Browns needed to do this offseason, they ended up extending defensive end Myles Garrett, who previously requested a trade after the season. Again, the talk was he wants to win. He wants to win Lombardies. That's what he said. The whole thing was from Cleveland to Canton. The man tired of going through rebuilds. The man tired of y'all not getting it right at the quarterback position. I mean, Baker Mayfield led them to the playoffs. You fucked that up. Now he over there balling in Tampa Bay. He's tired of going through rebuilds, and I do not blame him. These players are standing up, especially when you got a player, the best defensive player in the NFL. Has been for a couple years. The best defensive player in the NFL. I'm taking Myles Garrett over TJ Watt. That J me. But you lock him up. My previous thought was that he ended up signing because it was all about the money. That was the plan all along. He's doing this. He wants an extension. He wants more money. But after researching, and this is what you find when you deep dive and when you want to come on and do a podcast, you got to do your research and you deep dive. After research, I found, which I said the Browns wasn't trading him. I said their GM would be a fool to trade Myles Garrett. You're under contract. They weren't trading him, met with the owner, Jimmy Haslam. And this is according to Mary Kay Cabot as well. I'm going to play her talking about a Browns beat writer. I'm going to play her talking about it. This was according to her as well. They let Myles know we are not budging. So it's going to get ugly. Are you going to hold out? Are you lose out on money? So Myles like, okay, shit, if I got to stay, y'all better pay. If I got to stay, y'all better pay. Compensate me for having to deal with this shit because I still don't feel like they got the quarterback position figured out. Not after drafting Dylan Gabriel, not after drafting Shador, not after Flacco, not after Kenny Pickett. I think they're looking to next year's draft class. I still don't think they got the quarterback position figured out. So the what I thought was this was a plan to get more money. He becomes the highest non-paid quarterback in NFL history. I thought this was a ploy to get money from the jump. But if you really listen to him talk, it was about winning. He wanted to go to a winning organization. Those organizations said, we're not trading you. So he said, okay, well, pay me. It's his, like he's going to stay. It's my agent job to get something done for me. And Nicole Lynn is his agent. She said, you know what? If you got to stay, y'all going to pay him. And he becomes the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. But here is, because I want y'all to hear him talk about it. Here is Myles Garrett explaining in the beginning why he wanted the trade.
Why, when it all comes down to it, that you're willing to share? Do you feel that this is what's best, that your 8 years, you've come to the conclusion it just won't be in Cleveland for you?
I mean, like you said, it's not a decision I take lightly. You know, it took time and and lots of conversation. But just looking at kind of the trajectory of the team, talking to some of the higher ups, and I have a lot of respect for them, but I just don't think we're aligned on where the team is going in the near future. And I feel like the window for us as athletes is only so broad, and it only continues to close as years go by with anything be able to happen on that field from day to day. And I want to be able to go out there and compete at the highest levels, day in and day out, and playing for champions, like I said.
And this came out of conversations that you had with Matt.
So there he is again, like he stated. I just feel like I'm not aligned with management. He don't have a fucking quarterback, guys. He does not have a quarterback. Deshaun Watson is not the answer either. Don't come on here talking about he not the answer either. He hurt. Ain't no telling when he gonna be able to play. Deshaun Watson is not the answer. I saw after he signed the extension, it was either a report or a video, and I should have pulled it. But I saw where he stated that, I had a conversation with, after the extension, he stated I had a conversation with him, and they told me what their outlooks were, and I was okay. No, bro, the motherfucker said they not train you, so you just decided to stay and get paid for your stay. That's what ended up happening. But again, here is him talking a little bit more, and then in this clip, I'm gonna show he also, here, let me make sure. And then in this one, he also they asked him, okay, so what's your ideal situation? We know we all was Chiefs, Bills, could have been the 49ers, pair him opposite of Joey Bosa. Any of these teams in the playoffs, he was clips of him saying, I don't mind playing in snow. A lot of people thought that meant the Bills. I mean, not 49, I said Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa. But here is him again talking a little bit about the decision, and then they asked him where would his ideal destination be.
Look about this, but let's go back to the beginning for those who've not had a chance to hear any of the conversations. What made you decide that this is the time you need to make a change in your career?
I just felt after taking some time from the season, using that little time to decompress, have some time to talk to my family, consult with them, work through some feelings and emotions, and also speaking with management at the Browns. I just felt like this current time, I don't feel like our future is aligned with winning right now. And that's what I'm looking forward to do at this state of my career. I have a lot of love for Northeast Ohio and community that brought me into the league, but want to get to contending and winning playoff games and having a chance to be in games like today.
So there was Myles Garrett saying again, I want to win right now, and the plan isn't. He's telling us the plan isn't right now, and he's going to mention in the press conference after he signed, they asked him about the radio role, these interviews you're doing. He did say that kind of messed up the relationship with him and management, because bro, you outing what they're telling you. The plan is not to win now, Myles. We got to find a quarterback. That lead me to believe they looking into next year's quarterback draft class. Everybody said that though. We said that from jump. It's like 8 or 10 guys they could get next season. But my bad, TikTok. If y'all commenting, I'm missing it. If y'all comment over on TikTok, matter of fact, if you're on TikTok, come over to my YouTube. Link is in my bio. You can see the videos and all that over there. You can just hear. But again, now this part is they asked him about the relationship with LeBron and how LeBron could have possibly helped. Given he's from Ohio, played for the Cleveland Cavaliers, wanted to go on to a contender, and kind of just that relationship with him and LeBron.
I mean, over the last couple of years, LeBron has come to be a good friend and a valuable resource, and he knows what it's like to work through these thoughts and emotions that come with leaving a special community like Northeast Ohio. And so, working through the decision was all on my own, and something that I had to do by myself. But just leaning on him as a resource and as a friend was something invaluable for that time.
And then right after this is when Randy asks, okay, so what is your ideal destination?
Well, I'm not really tied to any particular team in general right
Miles Garrett would love. What would be your ideal dream job? What organization would Miles Garrett would love to play for?
Well, I'm not really tied to any particular team in general right now. I just want to go out there and contend. I want to be playing meaningful games at the end of the season. Well, that's the end of the regular season, and going into the postseason as well. That's just that exciting brand of football, the legacy in which we want to build, and the games in which we remember the most. And I want to be a part of that NFL history. And so, any team that's on the on the way to contending or make those next steps on the cusp, I could see myself being part of that and taking them over the top.
So that was Myles Garrett, kind of on why he requested the trade. Then on to what ideal destination. But like you said, it was all about winning. He wanted to go to a team that was already kind of on the verge, and he felt like he could send them over the edge. So that's that. And then the Browns, along with that, they have also signed edge Joe Tryon-Shoyinka and defensive tackle Malik Collins, formerly of the Texans. Pretty good D tackle. So they're bringing in another edge priest. They're bringing in another D tackle to go along and pair along with Myles Garrett. And then to top that off, the Browns then draft defensive tackle out of Michigan, Mason Graham, at number 5 after trading with my Jacksonville Jaguars. And what they got out of that trade, basically, you didn't get Travis Hunter, you got Mason Graham. So then you got our 36 pick, and then they got, here, let me, I want to pull up and show. I want to pull up the actual names of the league. Pull up there. I just had it. Trial by error. We'll just leave me right here. I wanted a picture of it, but hey, it is what it is. Here we go. It's kind of it's just showing them in their jersey numbers. But so they go and draft at number 5, defensive tackle Mason Graham. So you'll have Collins, Graham, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka probably, or any other defensive end they could put over there, and then Myles Garrett. So they're showing up there. They're getting better at the O-line, showing up their D-line. From that trade out of us, they got our 36 pick and our 2026 first round pick, and then our number 5, who they used to get Mason Graham. My only plight with this, who isn't really looking, I mean, I'm not gonna put too much stock in it. I mean, if any of y'all if any of y'all are eating right now, stop eating because I'm not putting too much stock in this. But I mean, it's kind of not a good look, man, because you're the number 5 pick in the draft, man. He was already smaller than expected, and when he had the weigh-ins at the company, he was small. He don't look like he got barely any. Most of the time, you ain't gonna really see too much really muscle on ED tackle anyway, but you'll see it in their arms. Like you'll see it when they pushing you back. He ain't got really no size on him. You know what I'm saying? He ain't got no. He don't intimidate you. He does look a little sloppy out there throwing up, and you in Ohio. Now, maybe Ohio is a lot hotter right now than what I'm thinking, but I'm from Florida and Georgia. It might be a little hot up there right now, but you throwing up, bro. I mean, and then here go the people. For those of y'all that ain't never played football, bro, I'm an athlete. I played athlete, I'm Division I athlete, semi-pro, going pro. I ain't never threw up at practice. I'm just tell you that I ain't never threw up. But so this just leads me to, and there were times I had to, especially in college, I had to get right. I had to get in shape because I almost did. I felt like I did, but why? Because I was not in shape. So for a 5th pick of the draft to be throwing up at practice. He's not in shape, guys. And it's okay. He'll get into it. It's rookie minicamp. But my thing is, what have you been doing this whole time? And this is the guy everybody was mocking to go to my Jaguars, and I was on board because it was one of those. You see it so much, you think it's going to happen, so you try to talk yourself into it. That's how I felt about it. I'm like, I mean, I don't really care about short arm, but the short arms, he was a lot smaller. He don't look like he got no girth on him for real. Like I like, come on now. I mean, I can say it, but he don't look like he got nothing about him. You know, no really size. That's who we taking at number 5, and I feel like the Browns could have went and got Ashton Jeanty. You could have got Ashton Jeanty. TikTok, YouTube. The Browns could have used this pick to get Ashton Jeanty because that was the thought. If the Jags, if we hadn't made the trade, we were not going Mason Graham anymore. It was Ashton Jeanty. You should have went Ashton Jeanty because that running back room was horrible. Again, I'm going to keep saying it. The leading rusher for the Browns 2024, Jerome Ford, had 565 yards. Y'all decide to go with Mason. You could have got Ashton Jeanty. That first pick in the 2nd round, you could have got Alfred Collins from Texas. I think T.J. Sanders was still on it. You had the first pick in the 2nd round. There were still good defensive tackles available that you could have went and grabbed with that first pick. You would have still been able to get Carson, I feel like, because a lot of people said they picked him a lot higher than expected. Or if you wanted to get Carson with that first pick and get whatever D tackle was available with the 2nd pick in the 2nd that you used on Quinshawn Judkins, our 36th pick, you could have already had your running back. You could have had your D tackle because you just signed the veteran D tackle, Malik Collins, a pretty good one. So you could have had Ashton Jeanty, D tackle. You still would have been able to get Dylan Sampson if you wanted to bring in 2 running backs to the class because, again, that running back room was putrid. So that's why I said y'all are going to be shocked in the beginning when I first started because everybody looking at, and everybody looking at the names of these guys. Like everybody looking at, Mason Graham, Quinshawn Judkins. I really do. I think that Carson Swaysinger pick is gonna pan out for them. I really do. You pair him with Devin Bush. Let me see. Was it Atkins? But yeah, let me pull up so we all can be looking at their draft class. But you could have had Ashton Jeanty, got one of them defensive tackles in the 2nd round that were still available, and you still could have got Dylan Sampson. You would have had the best running back prospect that we've seen in recent years, and you still would have had a good defensive tackle. This defensive tackle draft was deep. I don't think they should have went there at number 5 because the Jags, we were not going to go there at number 5. And I guess my plight more of it is because of the fact that you got rid of Travis Hunter to get this guy. You could have got a pair of Jerry Jeudy and a guy to put opposite Denzel Ward. But this is the move the Browns decided to make. But that's why I said y'all are going to be shocked by my opinion on it because if you really, it's names like Graham, Judkins, Gabriel, Shador, Sampson. Outside of Swaysinger, Sampson, I really don't give a fuck about the Shador pick. I mean, it's 5th round. I mean, people making too much. He's a 5th round pick. People making too much out of it. But outside of them, I mean, Browns draft class don't move me like that. I when you look at all involved, now maybe Graham gonna go out there and ball out and be one of the best, Braden Fisk. And then again, I have to realize he does have Myles Garrett. Teams are going to be worried about Myles Garrett. And if he is as good as people are saying he is, then it's going to be great. It's going to be fine. But I just feel like you could have got that out of another defensive tackle later in the round because, again, you have Myles Garrett on the opposite side. And y'all could have walked away with Ashton Jeanty. But that's my thought on that. That's the Browns draft class, but could they have gone Ted McMillan there, get another wide receiver? I wouldn't have liked Ted McMillan at 5. I didn't like when they were mocking him to my Jaguars. I just don't. I'm not a big Ted guy. If you really look at his film more than just highlights, it'd be funny when you look at people film other than just their highlights. But I don't think Ted McMillan would have been the move there. And then the one everybody Tim and Emmeline, let me. But the one everybody want to talk about, Browns draft. No, I didn't. Glory, hallelujah. Trial and error with this string yard, y'all. I'm eventually when I get the money, I'm gonna pay for my own logos. Right now, I don't give a fuck that y'all know the string yard. But make sure y'all can still hear me. Yep. The next thing everybody kind of around this live off. Browns drafted. I gotta bring my motherfucking CarMax up here next time. Both Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. The one everybody wanna talk about. Drafting 2 quarterbacks. Shedeur is better than Gabriel. Look, guys, we're not gonna get into it. We just talking about the all-season moves, and I'm gonna give my all-season grade. What? It doesn't matter. Like, you did what you did in the interviews. Okay, But I really just want to get on the people talking about they drafted both because of trade bait. Trade bait for who? For which one? Which one are you trading? Which one are you potentially trading? Because this isn't Joe Milton. Teams got an opportunity to see Joe Milton play. Are they going to get an opportunity to see Dylan Gabriel? Are they going to get an opportunity to see Shedeur? If they do get an opportunity to see one, who are you going to put out there first? And if that guy's playing well, why would I play Dylan Gabriel this game and play Shedeur the next game? So my thing is trade bait for who? For which guy? This isn't Joe Milton. This isn't another Jordan Love situation where he sat on the bench, trade bait. Jordan Love was a first round pick. Dylan Gabriel, 3rd. Shedeur Sanders, 5th. And if say Shedeur, 5th, if it's trade bait for Shedeur, everybody wants Shedeur. He's better than the 5th round talent, but because of they want to see how he do. Okay, say the Browns put Shedeur out there, he's good. Why would they trade him? They need a quarterback. Why would they trade Shedeur away? They put Gabriel out there, he's good. Or Shedeur is the only one that get a chance to play, and Gabriel don't get the opportunity because Shedeur is good. Why would teams trade for Dylan Gabriel? And usually when you're trying to use some at trade bait, you hoping to get a decent package back. If these teams don't get an opportunity to see any of them play, you're not going to get a good package back for that. Hell, look what the Cowboys got for Joe Milton, and he played. He showed some flashes. So trade bait for who? I just think this was, and Andrew Berry's going to say it. It was just more about, then I didn't pull it. But it was just more about, he said it was just best player available at the time. I mean, Shedeur Sanders was still on the board. He said it was not the plan going into the draft to draft 2 quarterbacks. But I just don't get the trade bait notion because I just don't get the trade bait notion because typically when you use somebody as trade bait, you're trying to get a good package back. I want to pull. I thought I had that on here. It might have been one I didn't pull from the technical difficulties. No, that's not. Dang, where is that at? Okay, here we go. Because I want y'all to hear him talk about the decision to draft 2 quarterbacks. Because that was not their plan. Y'all know that. That was not their plan going in. I don't think this is a trade-based situation. I'm not gonna say I agree, but I get the people saying the owner Jimmy Haslam called and said draft Shedeur Sanders. Because again, this is the thing, and this is kind of what they was dealing with Myles Garrett. This is when y'all come out saying what y'all plans are and shit. That's where y'all fuck up, man. Like that's where y'all fuck up. Y'all can't sway me. I heard you saying here that was not your plan to get 2 quarterbacks. But here is GM Andrew Berry on drafting 2 quarterbacks.
Sport. We obviously spent a lot of time with Shedeur throughout the process. He's highly accurate, can play well from the pocket, very productive college career. And we felt like it wasn't necessarily the plan going into the weekend to select 2 quarterbacks, but as we talked about, we do believe in best player available. We do believe in positional value, and we didn't necessarily expect him to be available in the in the 5th round. Like he was a good, solid prospect at the most important position.
So there you have it. He said it was honestly best player available. We didn't go into the weekend with the plan to draft 2 quarterbacks, but he was there. We feel like he's solid, so we decided to draft him. That is what it is. Then what everybody want to talk about, if you look at, I'm not going to make it too much, but I ain't doing my due diligence if I don't show it. Then everybody want to talk about their draft reaction to drafting Shedeur wasn't hyped or the best, because if you're drafting a quarterback that you think is talented, the way you're talking about him, you probably have a little more reaction than this, but I'm not going to put too much into that. It ain't. But here they were asked about it, and this is their response.
Your guys' reaction in the war room, it just didn't look necessarily exuberant.
I think we're probably just tired from the weekend.
Those clips, it's not timed up to exactly the right
When
time.
we're actually
So I
making
wouldn't
the pick.
don't read too much into that.
So yeah, I'm not buying their answers either, but that was them on their reactions. And then I ain't doing I want to pull that clip back up when I talked about back to the Myles Garrett really quickly when I mentioned Mary Kay Cabot. And then when I mentioned Andrew saying they were not going to trade Myles Garrett. And I feel like that's why he signed the extension. I meant to play that, but you know what happened when you get in I ain't got no producer. I'm my own producer. I ain't got nobody in my ear telling me, hey Kylan, you got a clip, you got site number, you gotta play. I ain't got nobody telling me that. So we gonna make it do what it do. But here is just really quickly, just to circle back, because I forgot to play the clip on why he ended up signing that extension, because they just weren't going to move him. Here's Browns GM Andrew Berry stating that they were not going to move Myles Garrett.
So Myles, as you guys have all heard me say, he's a huge part of our organization, really good person. He's an awesome player. Understand the trade request and everything, but our stance really has not changed. We can't imagine a situation where not having Myles as a part of the organization is best for the Browns. So I just want to hit that off the top, and with that,
said that they wouldn't trade him. Then here you go, Mary Kay Cabot, beat writer for the Browns, stating herself what she's heard, and that what Myles had with the meeting, that he realized they were lock and step and not trading him. So he said, well, y'all are going to pay me for my stay.
Myles got turned down for the meeting by Jimmy Haslam. I think it really showed him that the Browns are in solidarity, so much so. They are in alignment. And they locked arms, and they basically said, we are not budging on this issue. And I think it really hit home for him that they were not going to change their minds, and that he was going to have to take it to the point where he would have to hold out and lose money and it would get ugly, and that he would potentially lose more and more fans because fans were starting to turn on Myles Garrett. You would think in a situation like that everybody would be against Jimmy Haslam for not taking the meeting, but there was a lot of support for Jimmy in not taking a meeting with Myles that would have been out of the chain of command and not the way business is done.
I don't agree with that, and fans have come out and said as well. If there's any Brown fans in here that heard that can back that up, I don't agree with that because fans of the Browns have come out and said, no, we get Myles Garrett's frustration. Hell, we are frustrated as fans. You get the notion you don't want your star player to leave, but these guys want to win, man. Y'all gonna learn real quick. These guys want to win. But just to kind of cap it off, I still got about 2 or 3 more clips to play. I do want to play Shedeur Sanders' draft call. I ain't doing my due diligence if I don't. And then just kind of a couple little more clips on. I'm gonna play his draft call. I'm gonna play his draft reaction from his perspective, and then we're gonna play Dylan Gabriel a little 30-second clip on kind of just his what he feel like the QB competition and scrutiny he might receive and kind of how they are in the locker room. And then we're gonna play a question that Kevin Stefanski received on why Dylan Gabriel got the first rep. Is that because of their draft? Like, this is shit that you're gonna deal with, or the Browns are not going to deal with because they drafted another quarterback over Shedeur. It's just a headache, man. But these are little 3-4 more clips, and then we're going to close it out.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, I know it's been a long weekend. We're going to take you off the board here, all right, brother?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Hey, listen, you got to come in, you got to work hard, you got to earn your job, earn your keep. It doesn't matter where you're taking, it matters what you do from this point forward, all right? Talented, spent a lot of time with you, a good kid. Let's get ready to go to work and improve on what we're past what we go. All right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, I got a coach here right now.
Yo, what's up, coach?
Good to see you, man.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to see you.
Remember, I told you the Lord works in mysterious ways, right?
No, for sure.
It's an opportunity. We're going to get to work together, okay, buddy?
Beautiful thing. It's a beautiful.
More questions I get asked like that, it just divides the team. And for me, I think, we're in a room full of not just us, but Kenny, Joe, and Deshaun. And for us, we know how important a healthy QB room is, but also, a team that you want to be a part of, and how do you create an environment every single day where everyone can be at their best? And that's just pushing one another, which talent naturally does. And, naturally it's healthy, for us where we all go do our thing and everyone wins. More questions.
Yeah, I wouldn't look into really anything.
I know, but how do you choose that? Is it draft status or what?
Yeah, I wouldn't look into anything. I think you'll see the whole weekend going through the spring. I mean, we don't pay too close attention to who's in there.
Will it change tomorrow?
Hey, will you be here?
Yeah.
I'll see you here.
It's okay.
So again, thank y'all so much. Oh, I'm right at an hour. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the All Things Life in Sports show. with Kyle and Thomas. On this one, I took a deep dive into the Cleveland Browns offseason. I'm gonna get back into this series that I do. I want to take a look into all 32 teams all season. If you're a fan, if you watching now, fan whatever team, let me know. DM me. My socials are, I'm gonna have my socials in here some kind of way. If you want to come on with me, like, I always want other fans of other teams to come on, because again, when you're a fan of a certain team, you look into that team a lot more than others on the outside do. I'm just coming in doing research and going off of what I'm seeing. A lot of people, we just don't follow your team like you do. So again, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for listening. As y'all can see here, thanks for watching and listening to the All Things Life and Sports show. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this. And make sure everything done before you try to have fun. Peace.